Putin is a master psychologist, and he has spent 15 years cultivating the image of himself as this unpredictable figure who, if, as a rat trapped in a corner, may strike out in ways we don't foresee or ways we consider irrational. This is a classic KGB ploy. And he is now using this because his troops have failed in Ukraine. He's being criticized by his pals Xi and Modai. He is being criticized in Russia. His conscription has created a huge problem, demonstrating the Russian people do not want to fight in Ukraine. They realize that this is not a war of aggression against Russia. So he's trying to make the notion that he might use nuclear weapons his out for this crisis. He wants to make sure that the US and NATO does not send more weapons to Ukraine, so the Ukrainian counteroffensive does not continue. We cannot rule out something irrational on Putin's part, but it would be extremely dangerous for him and for Russia. And we know this is Putin's war. It's not the war of the Russian people. It's not even the war of his pals, the Siloviki. We all know that the famous video before the Russian February invasion showed his closest advisors deeply uncomfortable with what he was saying.
John, I'm sure you heard the tail end of our conversation with Ted Kemp there, and he was talking about the security services within Russia, the military and the FSB at odds. Is there anything in there to suggest potential regime change?
There is some tension there, although not nearly as great between the FSB and the Ministry of Interior on the one side and the Chechens on the other. But it is true that as the regime gets a little bit shakier, and I'm not predicting Putin is going to go anytime soon, but this is the shakiest we've seen his regime, with even senior officials who are supportive of Putin saying that this conscription is a disaster. People are beginning to distance themselves a little bit from the policy. And we don't know how this will play out, but there are major disturbances in Dagestan, one of the minority areas which has had far too many of its people drafted. And it's just a shaky moment for Russia. And this is all because Putin's war on Ukraine is failing.